Hi guys, welcome to the Improved Garage. So today we are going to be talking about headlights, specifically LED headlights, but I'm going to talk through a couple different technologies and my experience with them. And then today we're going to install new LED headlights in the Mazda 3 to replace the halogen bulbs that are in there now. And we're going to see how they actually work in darkness. So first off, headlights. So headlight technology years ago, most cars had halogens. Halogen bulbs are similar to what you have in your house, or well, what we used to have in our house. It's the glass bulb with the little filament, and it heats up that filament by putting electricity through it, and that glows brightly. Those bulbs didn't last forever. They were easy to burn out. If you touched the side of them, they would develop hot spots and burn out because of that. They didn't have a ton of brightness because they gave off a lot of heat, and the headlights could only dissipate so much heat. But we used them for years and years and years and years and years. In late 1990s, early 2000s, we started to see HID, or high intensity discharge lights, sometimes also called bi-xenons, hit the market. And those types of lights were common in Acuras, Mercedes-Benz, some other luxury cars like Lexus as well. And those were lights that you would first turn the lights on and you would get a little flicker, and then they would kind of get brighter, 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 and then they would stay at that brightness. And those HID lights worked by using a super high voltage that was put through a bulb that was gas charged, and that bulb would develop really high levels of output, but also with it really high levels of heat. And like I mentioned, it ran at a high voltage. So the auto manufacturers did it pretty well. Most of their systems were really reliable and worked well. In the aftermarket world, those systems were pretty sketchy. I installed a lot of them over the years from a variety of different manufacturers, and we'd have issues with ballasts failing. We'd have issues with radio reception after they were installed, where all of a sudden you couldn't hear the FM radio. We would have issues with like alternator noise, like that high-pitched whine, sometimes called alternator noise, that you'd hear from like speakers and stuff when the headlights were on. And you know, the systems were generally made in China. They were often low quality. They didn't work incredibly well, ended up replacing a lot of parts in those systems, but when they worked, they were really bright. And that's where you get, you know, the bro-dozers coming down the road that are blinding you because they didn't have the right reflector packages to work with the light bulb that they had. So as technology has progressed, many manufacturers have gone to LED lights, and I've actually been lucky enough for the last 6 or 7 vehicles that I've owned, they've all come with LED lights. So even my Honda Passport, which is a pretty mainstream vehicle, has LED low beam bulbs from the factory, and the high beams are a halogen. Our Mercedes-Benz has LED bulbs as well. Both Minis came with LED bulbs, and my previous Mercedes-Benz came with LED bulbs. So it's been a while since I've had to do a light retrofit. But there are a lot of companies that make them, and there are a lot of cars on the road that still don't have them. So it is a viable thing that you can definitely do if you do not have LEDs, to give yourself greater light output, allow you to see better on the road, have better visibility and protection for you and your family. And if done right, you can do it so that it doesn't blind other people, so it doesn't create problems for others on the road, and so that you're generally respectful to the other people that are also trying to drive and protect their families. So there will be links in the description for all of this. You can kind of just sit back and watch. I decided to do this video because a company reached out to me and asked me to check out and test their light bulbs and see what I thought of them. And it was something that I had experience with in the past, different brands, different companies. But because a lot of the industry is China oriented or China made, you know, brands, there isn't a lot of brand recognition. They kind of come and go. So a company, Auxito, reached out to me and they said, hey, you know, we have bulbs, we have our own bulbs, and we would like you to test them, and we're going to send you a set for free, but you can say whatever, like the honest truth. They're not asking for anything, but I did get bulbs for free, so I'm going to be honest about that. I've used other kits in the past, so we will kind of compare and contrast this to some of the other kits that I've used in the past, both in completeness and ease of installation and the packaging, etc. So this is what I received. Now these are for the Mazda 3. I'm going to put a link in the description to their website. This kit retails for about $100. And if you put in your make and model, it will tell you what size bulb fits your car. So for our Mazda 3, they are a 9005, which is also called an HB3. And that gets really confusing. There are 9003s, 9004s, 9005, 9006s, but they all have different numbers as well, like HB4, HB5, HB6. So in this case, the Mazda 3 takes a 9005 or HB3, same bulb, and that's what this kit is. So when you receive this in the mail, it comes in a box just like this. It's wrapped in cellophane like, you know, like an iPhone would be, just the thin plastic. You cut the plastic and pull it off. And when you open up the lid, what you have inside, they send you a pair of gloves, which is nice because you're not supposed to touch bulbs when you're removing and adding them. And that's because the grease or oil on your fingers can form hot spots on the bulbs and it can cause them to fail faster. There are some zip ties and some O-rings along with a small Allen wrench. There is a product manual and there are light bulbs that are attached to this adapter or well, really what this is a CAN adapter. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this is what the bulb looks like. So here is a single bulb. You can see the base or mounting point is attached to the bulb. These are often removable, which is probably what that tiny Allen wrench is for. Yep, there's an Allen screw in the side. So these are removable if you needed to orient them differently, but generally they're going to be in this direction. These are air cooled. You can see that there is a fan in the back that is to keep the heat down inside your headlight housing and to keep you from melting your headlight housing, because even as LEDs, they can still generate heat. We can see that most of this is constructed of aluminum heatsink material. It's really well made. There is some copper on the front as well. And the LED is specifically in this center part of the light bulb. And that's really important. Back in the HID days, the entire light bulb would light up. And with OEM bulbs, the halogen bulbs, they didn't used to do that. They would have like a painted band on them and only a portion of that would light up. And that was really critical to the refraction pattern and how the light actually appears on the road. So that's why somebody put aftermarket HIDs in their car, and then that you would get this dazzling effect where it's kind of like blinding everybody. And really that's not efficient for light output either, because a lot of your light is like going up into the sky or blinding other drivers instead of being focused on the road. So the fact that the LED manufacturers are putting the LED in a small section of the light, which is where it was originally in the halogen bulbs, means that you're going to get a similar beam pattern to what you're used to from your halogen bulbs. So you should get similar light output as well. Now, many aftermarket LED bulbs have some way to deal with CAN bus or light out detectors. They will often say CAN safe or something along those lines. This says CANbus-ready. So that's what this section right here is. So when LED lights first started coming onto the market in the aftermarket space, many cars were dumb in that they simply send voltage to the headlights. They have no idea if the headlights are on, the headlights are off. They're just sending voltage to two wires. Very simple. And the LED lights worked with that just fine. They take 12 volts like any other bulb does. But as cars started to get smarter, and we saw this with Chrysler, with Ford, with any of the European brands, the cars would say, the cars would send voltage to the lights, and if the light bulb was out, they would tell you on your dash, hey, your light bulb is out, and then they would shut off the circuit that actually powers the light. Well, because an LED uses less power than a halogen bulb does, many cars would think that the lights were out when they were powering LEDs. So early on, if you took a LED without one of these CAN bus adapters and you plugged it into a car that had these light out detection circuits, When you turned the light switch on, your car would think that the light was out. It would shut the light off, meaning the power that's going to the light, and it would give you an indication on your dash that says, hey, your light is out. In the best case scenario, it would turn the light on, leave the light on, but you'd still get the warning on your dash. So manufacturers started adding this, and this is basically just a resistor pack that makes this act like electrically it's a halogen bulb. So it uses similar power to a halogen bulb, and that means that your car thinks that it's a halogen bulb and it thinks that it's on when it's actually on. In this Mazda, that actually doesn't matter. The car is dumb, it's very basic, it would have powered them anyway, but for fancier cars like my Mercedes-Benz, this 3 or 4 Mercedes-Benz ago that I actually did an LED retrofit to, without one of these adapters, it would not power the lights on. They would come on, they would flicker a little, and then they would shut off. So what we're gonna do is we're going to pull the car up to the garage. I'm gonna pull the camera outside. I'm going to turn the lights on so you can see the beam pattern now. We're going to replace one of the light bulbs so that you can see the old versus new, and then we're going to replace the other light bulb. And I'm gonna show you how to do that on camera. All right, so we have 3 lights: blinker, low beam, high beam. High beam is right down here, and that's what we're going to be replacing today with these LEDs. Now, in a lot of cases, you might want to replace your low beams because those are on more often, but technically, aftermarket lights like these can be considered illegal, so I want to see what the performance is like before we decide if we're going to replace our low beams or not. To remove these, the plug is a right angle. You twist it like this. So basically, you grab it and you twist it a 1/4 of a turn, and you're going to pull out on the light. You might find that it's a little stiff. If you just kind of shake it back and forth a little bit, it'll come right out. And the light bulb is connected to the wire, and there's a tab on the bottom that you can squeeze and it comes apart. So the bulb is right here. You can see the factory bulb. There's a tab here that you squeeze and it comes apart. Now, if we look at these two compared to each other, we will see that they actually have the same mounting position, similar profile. Obviously, this one's a little bit deeper. So we're going to put this bulb in place of the old. Same orientation, same 1/4 turn to tighten it into place. And then we're going to take this and we're going to plug it into the factory harness. Now, one thing that you will maybe have to deal with is on a factory light bulb, like this halogen here, there is no positive negative, right? It'll work in reverse. So if you have the positive and negative wires mixed up, it doesn't care. These will care. So looking at this connector, there is a plus and a minus on the harness, and we will plug those in to what I suspect are the correct wires here and power them on. And if it doesn't light up, then we'll flip it over and we'll be good to go. Now we're going to show the difference between the two lights. So right now the low beams are on. That is switching to high beam. You can see a definite brightness difference between the right and the left. Even in the camera, I'll stand here so you can see on my black shirt. And it's just obviously apparent the difference in brightness. This one being significantly brighter, the one that we just replaced, than this one is. So next I'm going to replace this light bulb, and I'm going to try to show this one better on camera. So on this side, we have some plastics to deal with. We're going to unsnap our battery box cover, pull that out of the way. We're going to remove this cover that is for the inlet to the battery box. There is a plastic clip here. So we'll pop this off. So now we've got that removed. Right here is the bulb. My hand is on it. It's really hard to see, and I apologize for that. So it is literally sitting right here. And you just grab it. You can see the back of it, mine says Sylvania on it. You grab it and you're going to twist it. counterclockwise, and then you should be able to pull it out. I left this one lit. Not a good idea. Don't do that. Shut your lights off first. I'm gonna stick it back in there. Shut my lights off. Do this again. We've got this out. You can see the bulb here. And on the back side of the bulb, on the harness, there is a button that you can squeeze. So if you're looking at this plug right here, you can see on this side, there is a button you can squeeze. Now, again, we are going to take our new light, which is right here. I'm going to first put the bulb into the bracket. So it goes in like this. You'll see there's three, like a triangle. This one goes up. Okay. So put the bulb in. Make sure it's in all the way. Twist it that quarter turn, just like that. And then we're going to take this, we're going to plug it in. Now, like I mentioned, on this harness, you'll see a plus and a minus. On the factory harness, looking at the pins, you will see a plus and a minus. So I'm going to connect plus to plus, minus to minus, just like that. And then I'm going to turn the light on, make sure that it works. And then we are going to zip tie this harness together. Okay. So we have tied up our wiring. We are going to put our vent back. Just like this. All right, so we have the car back together. And now we are going to check it out on the door. So here we can see the difference between low beam and high beam. High beam are obviously significantly brighter. It does look like we need some adjustment to the lights. All right, so what you're looking at here, these are low beams. These are high beams. Back to low, high, low, high. Something important to note is your headlights need to be aimed. In most cases, your headlights are probably already going to be aimed in the right direction. There are high-low adjustments and left-right adjustments on all headlights on all cars. And they are accessed by using a long screwdriver like this and going down into the top of the headlight in most cases. And there's a screw on the back that you can spin and it will adjust up or down. I'm going to show you here what that looks like. And I'm also going to show you how you want to adjust the headlights. Now, normally you would adjust the headlights with only the low beam on, not the high beam. So as you see, it's kind of going up the door. You can see this side moving up, that side staying where it is, and I can go up and down as I need to, right? So the way that you adjust headlights is like this. Low beam only. You want to measure the headlight from the ground to the middle of your headlight. On a level surface, you want to be 10 feet away from a dark wall, door, something along those lines, which I am here. And you want to measure from the center of the headlight to the ground, and you want to go and measure from the top of this line to the ground. And those should be the same measurement. And that means that your light isn't going up over time, it's actually slightly going down. But the center of the light should be equal to right here on the door. Okay, so on our car, we have 28 inches from the center of the light to the ground. On my door, you can see this is about 31 inches to the top. So I actually have to drop it about 3 inches after that adjustment that I just made. So my low beam needs to go down to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the screwdriver in, and I will put a link in the description to the Mazda manual where it shows you the screws and which one's which, because there are 3 of them. But lower this down, lower it down, and you can see right there, now the top of my beam is right here where I want it to be, and we are good. Now, let's do the same on this light. Again, measure the light to the ground, measure to here, should be the same number, in this case 28, and I need to be right there. It is important that your car is flat when you are doing this, and it is important that you are measuring perpendicular to the ground. All right, so I just wanted to round out the video. So the lights were really good. The high beams worked very, very well. The installation went smoothly. They were a complete kit, even including different size O-rings and zip ties. The installation went well. We've had no issues. They've been in there for about a week. I ordered a set of low beams. Those actually came yesterday and I installed those. With them, I didn't do the CAN safe version. I just did regular LED lights. They're a standard profile. They're the same size as a normal bulb is, and they fit and went in very well. We've had no issues, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend Auxito as a brand to purchase LED lights from. I purchased one set from Auxito's website directly. I purchased one set from Amazon directly. Both times they arrived quickly, they arrived packaged well, they arrived without damage, and they were the parts that I ordered correct for the vehicle, so I really have no complaints. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, there will be a link in the description. If you click on that link and you purchase products either through Amazon or from Auxito directly, I will get a small kickback for that. It won't cost you any more, but that is one of the ways that you help to support my channel. So in the future, if I have a need for some LED lights, I will definitely check out Auxito. I think that you should too. And thank you for watching and have a great day.